Hey, what's up? Good evening. It's almost 9 o'clock Central Mountain Time on Saturday 17th, 2020. Uh, Changing things up this time. Last night I watched the movie Scream 4 for the first time in like 8 years. And, I was never really much of a fan of it, but figured, what the hell. They're making the Scream 5, I understand, and, you know. Uh, I don't know. I just didn't really get into Scream 4 as much as I did the other films. And I'm actually thinking about maybe sometime in the next few days, maybe tonight, maybe sometime later on, watching this film right here, Scream 3. I saw the first Scream in theaters back when it was just nothing. It was one of my friends. It was Christmas winter break, and we were bored, and there was one of those cold, wet winter days, and we just said, "Hey, man, let's go to this local movie theater and just watch this film named Scream." And I was kind of surprised, and spoiler alert, Drew Barrymore dies within like the first 15 minutes, but I thought that was pretty invented. They actually had the whole plot revolving around Nev Campbell, who was at the time just a TV actress from the show Party of Five. I had never seen it, but I understand it was a pretty good and interesting show. And I like the references to other horror films. I'm a horror fan. I've watched all these films: Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Never got into the Hellraiser movies, Evil Dead. I'll be brutally honest. I don't like the first Evil Dead. I like Evil Dead 2. I like Horror and Darkness, but the first Evil Dead is just a little too much. And I like what Sam Raimi and they tried to do there, but I just felt that they did a lot better with the second one. But Scream 3 is came out about 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, late winter, mid late winter, 2000. And what's interesting about the movie was that it was supposed to be like a trilogy, and they kind of tie things up. Some people didn't like it. The fact that spoiler alert, Scott Foley is playing Nev Campbell's character's half brother, and I think that was kind of a reference to the Halloween movies where Jamie Lee Curtis's character Laurie Strode becomes the brother of Michael Myers. Uh, but there's something interesting I like about Scream 3, and other films. Scream 2 is great. Uh, Even though I had a discussion with some people in college, they said it sucked. But I think, well, maybe it was good because it sucked, because all sequels to horror movies suck. Well, supposedly that was the gist of that movie. But I knew a few people who were extras on that movie since they filmed it in the Atlanta metro area where I was living at the time. But I didn't go on. For some reason, I was not able to go on set. Going to be an extra, but Scream 3 is set in Los Angeles, and the funniest thing is that it was originally supposed to be set back in Woodsboro. Calm down, baby kitty, daddy's doing some thing. What happened was, let me switch hands here. The original script, from what I understand from Kevin Williamson, was that Stu Macher, played by Matthew Lillard, was supposed to survive the events of the first Scream. He's in prison, I think San Quentin or wherever, and he is orchestrating kind of like a killings through some of the student body. And well, you don't know what happened on the first uh, Scream when they were trying to film the movie. The infamous Polly Klaas murder happened. So holy crap, there's that going on, and they actually wanted to use an actual school in Southern California for the setting. Well, they said no, and to give the school district a middle finger, if you watch the credits on first Scream movie, there's some in the ending where it says thanks to all these people, but it says no thanks whatsoever to the whatever school board. Well, something happened in between Polyclass murder and production of Scream 3 that was just as bad. And I'm talking about the Columbine High School murder massacre, which was, I guess, worse. Any murder is awful. So I'm not going to say that Polyclass was not as bad as what happened at the kids at Columbine. They're both horrible cases. But what happened was they pretty much had to take Kevin Williamson's script and just throw it out the window because that they can't film something with kids killing other kids, teenagers killing other teenagers at school, and they came up with this script, and it more or less focused on the other characters from the Scream, Dewey, Gail, and I think Neve Campbell. She was under some scheduling conflicts. She could only be on set maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Uh, Patrick Dempsey's role was expanded, which I'm pretty sure all the ladies out there liked because by 2000 Patrick Dempsey was like, huh? Who was that? Oh yeah, he was in that thing. Can't Buy Me Lover Boy, whatever it was called. So I'm pretty sure a lot of women like that. He was a kind of detective, and possibly one of the suspects. He's not. Of course, I just gave it away. He's not the killer. It's Scott Foley's character, who was a film director. And a lot of people have come up with theories now dating back to the first one. Well, maybe he was in the first film because that explains why you see Ghostface Killer here, but you see Stu or Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich, here, and how can he get there to here so quick? But I think it works because it doesn't really fit. I mean, if you really want to make a true trilogy, I think the first, second, and fourth one kind of fit nicely because, and now they're doing a fifth one. I don't know if I said that already, but it almost like they came full circle. Sidney Prescott is, learning these horrible things about what happened to her mother. She's kind of trying to put it all behind her. But it came back because, spoiler alert, in Scream 4, it is her niece, played by Emma Roberts, and another kid who is kind of like the Randy, but Psycho, played by Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's young brother, Karen Culkin, his young brother too, and Scream 3 kind of just always seems out of place. And if you ever go back and watch a lot of horror franchise movies or just franchise movies in general, there's always that one movie that just seems out of place. And of course, everybody can pretty much say it's probably Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, that just seems to be so out of place because in that one, Jason Voorhees isn't the killer. It is this guy who works for an ambulance medic who is killing people at a kind of a special needs halfway ranch place for special needs kids. And the reason he's killing these people is because a psychotic person hacked his illegitimate son to death. And he's trying to make it look like Jason Voorhees is killing all these people. And I know a lot of people don't like it. I didn't really care for it. I think I liked where it tried to go. It tried to be a buffer because they were going to make Tommy Jarvis the killer, which is what they were able to do with the Saw movies between Tobin Bell and Costas Mandylor. But I don't really think it would have worked with the Friday the 13th movies. People want Jason Voorhees. They want Jason. And of course, if you look at the Halloween franchise, oh my God. Obviously, people just didn't like Season of the Witch, the third one, because they were trying to make it an anthology, which I think was an inventive idea. But they should have done they should have done something more with it. And I think it would have flown more today if they tried to do that than it did back in 1982, 83, whenever it came out. So, of course, Season of the Witch is a totally different story. Michael Myers isn't even in it. Uh, it has a little bit of meta reference in which they show the Halloween movie on TV, but there's no Michael Myers of the shape in the on the TV screen. It's just Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And Season of the Witch is a story about these masks that explode on kids and uh, insects and lizards and snakes and things come out. It's creepy. And it was good what they were trying to do. They were trying to make a Halloween anthology series. And if you go like on Hulu with Into the Dark, that's what they're trying to do there. American Horror Story, which is what Ryan Murphy has done. I don't really care for American Horror Story, but I think what Murphy has done is actually pretty inventive. I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. Um, Speaking of which, I understand Macaulay Culkin was supposed to be in the new season that was kind of just put on hold because of COVID-19. But yeah, you got A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. It's totally different from the first one, and it's totally different from the other movies. For one thing, it's a guy who is the protagonist, and he's doing the things through Freddy Krueger, which doesn't make any sense. That's another one. That's you could really say a lot of the Halloween movies really don't make a lot of sense, and especially those Rob Zombie movies. I'm sorry, Rob, they suck. And whatever Halloween Resurrection was supposed to be, and and, and I wasn't really too fond of the reboot, but oh well. But yeah, and if you have to also look at like even if you go past horror films, oh yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is more of a comedy, or a black comedy. It's got more of a comedic tone, while the first and the third one are more serious, and even the Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or AKA the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, they're more serious. Well, that one was kind of a more crazier tone. But even if you look at like the Fast and the Furious movies, I think Tokyo Drift uh, didn't really fit all right there into the whole way the other films have. Even though they brought it back full circle. You realize that everything that's happening after Tokyo Drift was happening before Tokyo Drift. Everything that happened in the movies after Tokyo Drift happened before Tokyo Drift, which doesn't make any sense. But Hobbs and Shaw, that movie. But yeah, this movie, Scream 3, it doesn't really work. There's a scene in which Jay and Silent Bob show up outside the studio. I think they would try to make a more emphasis on comedy rather than killings. If you notice, there's no actual teenagers in the movie. It's all adults, all people over age of 20, 21. And it works, but it fails at the same time to do what it should do. And I think it was trying to wrap up everything, but if you look at it now, especially with Scream 4 changing things, uh, it's kind of like that one thing of the franchise. It doesn't really seem, they tried to forget. It's kind of like Jaws 3. As if you watch the Jaws of Revenge, Jaws 4, the Revenge, it's like the events of Jaws 3 didn't happen. So yeah, it's a very interesting, weird take on a movie franchise. And I think I don't know if it was unattended or intended, but anyway, it does really kind of. It is an interesting film to watch. If you go back and watch it, and you would notice there's a lot of things different in there. The not like in the first couple films, and not like the one that came out in Scream 4. So, hey, I'm trying to make a video, and here's cats. Some weird noise going on in the kitchen. Maybe I should go investigate. Well, I'll be right back. I don't know. Maybe you should. Maybe you should tune in and see. So, thanks for listening, and I'll be right back.